Welcome to the FRC Top 25 for Week 3 for the 2023 Charged Up season. We have a fresh batch of 25 teams here to discuss with you. Of course, we'll be going through the 26 through 50, talking about some potential snubs, and of course, debut our clips of the week. We got a great set of teams. Can't wait to talk more about this with some great hosts and correspondents coming up on FRC Top 25. This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. If your team is using SolidWorks, make sure you log into the 3D Experience platform to gain access to tutorials, collaborate with other users, and download the Charge Up field and kit up parts. Go to solidworks.com/first and click on Log into 3D Experience platform to gain access. FRC competition season is here. Submit your favorite moments to FRC Clips of the Week by each Sunday at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. Also, the FRC Top 25 poll is open Sunday 5 p.m. Eastern to Monday 5 p.m. Eastern, where you can vote for your top 25 teams of the week at firstupdatesnow.com/FRC Top 25. Welcome to the FRC Top 25 for Week 3 for First Updates Now. I'm Tyler Olds.
I'm Ari McMahon.
And I'm Ryan Swanson.
All right, so Week 3. Events are really starting to ramp up at this point. We're seeing some really good teams break out there. What were you watching this week? Ryan, starts off.
Yeah, for me, I was just trying to watch as many matches as I could. We don't compete again until the World Championship. I'm seeing how things progress, especially as teams get closer and closer to maxing out the grid, kind of seeing how that dynamic plays out. We didn't quite get there in Week 3, but we got really close. With Israel District Championship coming up Week 4, fully expecting a maximum grid to happen soon.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I agree with you on that. We had 3 world records set this weekend, right? So at PNW Sundome had one that was one piece away, and then at FIT San Antonio they had twice, right? They had a 180 and a 181 unpenalized. As well. So that was super exciting. I was up in PNW this week. This is my first time in PNW. Went to both Sundome and Bonnie Lake. It was awesome. Got to meet so many people to hear about their teams and their passion, their robots. Obviously a lot of fans up there as well too. So I hope I got a chance to say hi. And if not, hope to see it at another event too. But it was a couple of fantastically well-ran events. Seeing 2910 in person was nuts. Just like every single year their robot just becomes more compact, right? And the performance that comes out of it is crazy, and seeing it in person is really a whole different just vantage from seeing it online for things when it's right up and close in front of you like that. That was so cool. Got to see some great teams at Bonnie Lake as well too. Bare Metal was an awesome team. We did a behind the glass with them as well, and a couple other teams as well. Shout out to Ranger Robotics who took that event, by the way, as like a number 4 seed as well. So really cool stuff out there. I tried to catch up and get a buffet of everything that was going on. Watch some of the film events. This is the first year I've missed Central Illinois ever. So it was cool to watch that. And by the way, I just want to give a big shout out to Ben Martin from RoboTears, who is also a fun correspondent for getting a Woody Flowers Finalist Award at CIR. I'm sorry I missed it, buddy, but congratulations to you. Amazingly well-deserved. If you all have not seen what RoboTears have been up to, I've been a big fanboy of them for a long time, but Ben has come in and absolutely been crucial in driving their new center that they've created as well. So Ben, just want to give a biggest shout out to you and much love to you and your team.
Yeah, also to our Robot in 3 Days team that we operate with, Ben. Just incredible the stuff that they're doing up there. This week, I was watching our first New York event, Finger Lakes Regional. Really cool to see New York teams out there. One of the first times I haven't been out there personally, so again, interesting to watch on the stream. Really cool that Souped Up Every Bot 1591 was able to take that. I think that was a pretty interesting seating there, and luckily we get a few more New York regionals after this, so hopefully you'll be tuning in.
I love the Everybot. I love that a team took it and they're rank 1. They went 17-0, just stomped the competition with a robot that anybody could have built.
Well, I did like the modifications they made to it too. They also gave it a ground intake,
yep.
And I think that really set them apart and really do stuff. But definitely the best robot that 1591 has ever built, and definitely looking forward to what they do as a team in the coming years.
I think the first award that they've had, I don't know if it's in team history, but dating back to 2007 or something like that. So really, really cool to see that team.
Yeah, I know someone from 3467, Emil, has been helping them out this year, and I think they're starting to get it. So
Awesome.
All right, well, let's talk a couple things about the FRC Top 25 before we head into it. I know we got some anxious people like Eric Lieferman from 2826. I know I had to make Ryan smile too because I purposely said his name wrong. But Eric, I know you're excited as well as many other teams as well too. So let's talk about the FRC Top 25 a little bit and some of the stats that you're going to be seeing on screen in just a moment if you are tuning in for the first time. Of course, FRC Top 25 is a community poll voted on by you. We had over 600 people vote in this year, and this year we added in a bit more security where you have to actually log into a Google account, that sort of thing too. So very excited to see the community coming together for that as well. So big thanks, by the way, statbox.io for providing some of the awesome numbers you're going to see in here in that scouting database that they have. We talked about ELO for a long time. We're using something called EPA now, or expected points added. EPA uses live updating data to find actionable insights and analyze historical trends. So teams are ranked by the community, but then you're going to see some extra data below talking about their total EPA, auto EPA, teleop, and endgame EPA as well. Of course, take all these things with a grain of salt. It's not a substitute for what your team might have for scouting, but a good barometer to look at for teams as we go through. Also, just a couple notes on here. By the way, ISR 3 and 4 was considered for this week. And then ISR DCMP and the Long Island Regional 1, which had their first event or the first competition day today, will be considered for week 4 as well, too. So with that said, any other notes or anything else somebody wants to bring up before we get into the top 25?
No, let's get into it.
All right. Yeah, so kicking things off with number 25, we've got Team 133 from Standish, Maine and Bonnie Eagle High School. We have B.E.R.T. Founded in 1997, B.E.R.T has 10 wins over the years, including an Einstein appearance in 2019. They made their first appearance this week at the New England North Shore event. They ranked first with a quals record of 9-2-1 with a 3.16 RP average. They teamed up with Team 3467 as their first pick in the playoffs, and they made the finals with scores ranging from 120 to 151. Their playoff matches against the number 2 alliance were some of the best you'll see all year. Their low pivot extendable arm enables them to score cones and cubes anywhere, though they prioritized the hybrid nodes in the playoffs, and they were consistently filling the majority of the hybrid nodes in each match during the playoffs. They would finish the event as finalists, but 133, they're extremely well-driven and polished. They have a ton of potential, and their next event will see them at the New England UNH event, where they're going to be looking to build on their strong performance from this week.
I just want to chime in. There's always kind of that buzzword that we throw on the FRC top 25 sometimes, which is potential for things. And that's something, you hear a lot when we sometimes try to soften. You will see some other finalist teams on here, by the way, too. So I don't want to take anything away from B.E.R.T. For that as well. B.E.R.T. is one of those teams. I think they've done good. I was maybe just a little surprised to see them on top 25 where they were. I don't know, Ari, what are your thoughts?
Arguably, third or fourth best robot at North Shore specifically. I think that they are a little bit high. There are some teams that are 26 through 2027 that we have that you'll see later that I think could have been swapped in for them. B.E.R.T. has kind of a long way to go. I'm sure they'll make it there. They have the right robot for it, but I'm not sure that they should be in our 25 spot here. I think that once they get going, though, we could definitely see them higher.
Yeah, and Ryan, I don't disagree with the potential on that as well. They're still a great team for things, but we also, as analysts and stuff, have to try to be as objective as possible with this too. So, B.E.R.T. plays again, right? This is their first event they just had?
Yeah, this is their first event.
Okay. So, we'll see how they do in their second event as well, and looking forward to seeing, of course, more B.E.R.T. And hopefully back on the top 25 as well too.
I think you'll find, Tyler, I'm an eternal optimist. I like to see the positives. I'll do my best to give that constructive feedback when I see it.
All right.
So now coming in at 24, we have Team 2539 from Palmyra, Pennsylvania, and Hershey High School, and also Palmyra Area High School. We have the Krypton Cougars, currently ranked number 1 in the Mid-Atlantic District. 2539 has already racked up 2 event wins, both as the number 1 alliance captain. Their overall record of 31-5 is one of the best in FRC. Coming off an Einstein appearance last year, Team 2539 has more than capitalized on that momentum and is one of the teams to beat in their district. At their latest event, Springside Chestnut Hill Academy, 2539 went 16-2, and they won the Autonomous Award for their 1.5-piece auto going over the charging station. 2539 prefers to cycle cones from the single substation and cubes from the ground, and they do both really effectively. Their double-jointed arm has a low pivot that enables them to score effectively at all locations. 2539 is really a force to be reckoned with within their district, and they're going to be doing really, really well at their district championship, which they've already qualified for. They have a ton of time to set themselves up, I think, to be a captain on their division at Houston. So congrats to Team 2539 for their success so far, and I'm looking forward to see what you do going forward.
Just have to say here, this is one of the first times that we've had FMA representation on Top 25. So thank you all voters for recognizing that Krypton Cougars is fantastic this season. I think they are a little bit low, but I am just glad to see them here in the top 25. Thank you, FMA representation.
Now, watching them play, I'm like, whoa, they're at 24. I mean, they legitimately are a top 15 team this week. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm glad that they made the list, but you're totally right. They should be higher.
I concur too. Totally.
All right. Carrying on, team number 23, we go from one number one ranked team in their district to another. And from reading their bumpers, I believe it's team 8, TJ Squared out of Bridgewater, Massachusetts, and Bridgewater Raynham Reg High School. 88 has an impressive machine and already has 2 district wins on their resume. Most recently, they came away with a hard-fought victory at the North Shore event as the captain of the Second Alliance. 88 has proven to be specialists at winning from outside the number 1 seed, as they've done it both times. In their first event, they were the 3rd Alliance captain. 88 fought their way back from the lower bracket to grind out a win in the finals that went to 3 matches, including a tie in the first finals match. Their 3-piece auto sets them apart and really gives them a huge advantage going into every match in teleop. 88 scored 12 game pieces to win finals match 3 and take home their 2nd blue banner of the year. Their tipped cone intake is one of the most efficient that I've seen. 88 is going to be in a very, very strong position going into their district championship and eventually into Houston. And I fully expect that they'll be a highly seeded alliance captain at all the events that they attend.
Yeah, so 88 was pretty much far and away the best robot at North Shore, arguably. At least in teleop, they were contributing almost 28 points a match per the data that 3467 posted on their build thread. I think that watching them, they're really smooth and fast, and they got this funky arm. If you have the chance, go watch them. But very cool robot. Can't wait to see what they do with it. And definitely their teleop performance sets them far and apart.
I just wanted to bring up the picture of the robot for what Ryan was talking about, how their bumpers are, by the way, because that's really creative. It's kind of crazy. So
hey, they're legal though.
Look at it from the corner.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, Ari. Their arm is pretty awesome. So that's cool. I really wish 88 was at the week 0 event. I think they were on the wait list for that. I was really hoping to check out the robot in person, but I guess I'll have to wait till championships. But it looks pretty awesome.
No, when I was scouting him, it was a fun robot to watch for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on to our 22nd ranked team at number 22 from Metamora, Illinois. Metamora High School, we have team 4143 Mars Wars. Winners of the St. Louis and Central Illinois regionals, 4143 has had a really fast start to the season. At 27-6-1, 4143 has been the number 2 and number 1 overall picks at their events. With only 1 playoff loss in the finals, 4143 has never found themselves in the lower bracket at either event. Putting up scores between 145 and 147 points, the dominant number 1 alliance stomped the competition, never winning by less than 34 points in any of their playoff matches at CIR. With an angled elevator design, 4143 likes to load cones from the double substation and cubes from the ground. Their 1.5-piece bump side auto pairs super well with a lot of their partners' auto modes, and that'll help them a ton going forward before champs. 4143 has great potential in Houston with their efficient intaking and scoring abilities. They definitely have a chance to play late into the day on Saturday at Houston. And congrats to them on the successful year so far. Hopefully we can be in the same division at Houston, and I want to check out that robot in person.
I've had a chance to follow Mars Wars for many years now for things, and it's great to see. I mean, this might be their best robot they've ever created. They have wins before, but a lot of times we've seen them kind of get knocked either semis or finalists or something like that. And this year, been having incredible success so far. So Mars Wars, big shout out to you. Great to see you on the FRC Top 25, and just extremely well deserved for a team that once again, we mentioned this like a week or two ago. I think it was last week that Mars Wars is one of those teams that has been doing like custom swerve for the longest time. And it's not, it's always one of those now it's like, oh, okay, everybody's got swerve. But like this team has really honed it in. They've been doing it for so long. And we'll be talking about their alliance partners a little bit later as well, too. But Mars Wars, able to withhold themselves or really hold an alliance themselves as well, too. So cool to see that happening. And congratulations to you.
Yeah, spoiler alert there.
Big spoiler.
Later.
Big spoiler.
All right. Moving on now to the number 21 spot. We have team 2230 out of Israel. We have the General Angels. They started out their competition season a little bit slowly, starting before almost any other team at Israel event number 1. They ranked 10th at their first event, and they made it to the semifinals, but they really ramped it up since then. And ISR number 3, they showed serious improvement. Sorry, number 4, serious improvement, winning the event and having multiple matches with greater than 150 points scored. 2230 is able to pick up cubes as well as tipped cones. I found that they prefer the single substation, and they like to cycle tipped cones out of there, and they score them at all levels using their angled elevator. They're super well practiced with their swerve drive, and to me, it seems like they handle defense really effectively. It'll be interesting to see if they continue their upward trajectory into the Israel District Championship this coming week. I think if they do, they're really going to be a robot to watch out for as we kind of get into that event.
Yeah, I really like it when you can tell that teams have been practicing and go to drive practice, and this is one of those teams. Their driving is just really smooth across the field.
General Angels is one of those teams where at ISR 4 was definitely overshadowed by ISR 3 a lot when, you had 1577 and 1690 not making it to the finals and that sort of thing. A lot of attention was, I think, much more on ISR 3 than 4. So I'm really, really glad to see that the community has pulled together. When I look through the votes, there's a lot of representation from Israel in our voting, but they really get some love from teams outside of Israel and voters outside of Israel as well, too. So cool to see that people were watching those. I think Israel gets a great, I don't know if advantage is the right word, but a great way that because they're midweek, they're the only events going on, right? So you can wake up, for us in the States, we can wake up in the morning, watch some robots on a Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. And it's cool that they really get some good exposure that way in a country that, has continually, since the Con District's been just cranking out awesome robots every single year.
I think I've watched more Israel events than I have any other event this year. Don't tell my boss.
Yeah, I got my coffee and my toast, and I'm setting up to work, and I got Israel up. Yeah. Good way to start the morning. Okay, so those are our top 25. Let's move on to our top 20. So, out of Grand Blanc, Michigan, it's the EngiNERDs. With a record of 16-1-0, they were the first seed and winner of the FIM Detroit District. In their first district of the season, 2337 was the team to beat from the beginning, with a rank score of 3.08 through their 12 qualification matches. Their over-the-back style arm linkage starts the match with a 2.5 game piece or 2 and engage auto that scores both mid. You don't really have to be a stats nerd to note that 2337 has the highest EPA to not make the top 10. And that is because their teleop double substation cycling is fast, and it's geared for both mid and high tiers. They're actually one of the only teams I've seen that is honestly faster at placing high and mid than hybrid. I think they're underranked this week, and if not honestly for some first event hiccups, I think that 2337's first showing this season is one of the strongest we've seen for a first showing. And I can't wait to see them play again at Troy 2 in week 5. Good luck there, 2337.
When I watch them play, I see a team with a way, way higher ceiling than what they're performing at right now. Obviously, they did really well, but I don't think they're anywhere near their ceiling.
Yeah, they definitely have
Completely
some
agree.
things they need to hone in. Even just watching this match alone on here, you can see that arm sometimes a little bit wobbly as it goes through as they're trying to get it in. So it'd be interesting to see if we just go back like a few seconds on here. You can see that as they try to get it in, it takes them sometimes a little bit longer to place a game piece, and maybe we would see from some top tier teams. So I agree with you. I think their ceiling's really high. I think they still should be a little bit higher this week for sure. I'm not sure if I quite get them in the top 10 on my end. I think they're really close to that area, but even in this match, man, shout out to whatever that little kip, the little swerve try bot 5577 is, because in this match, 23-37 looks like they get hung up a little bit against some pretty good defense.
To be fair, they've got great team number recognition, and if I'm an opposing alliance, they're going to be my top target almost all the time.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's playoffs, right?
Right.
So it's but it's something, we look at that ceiling, those are areas for improvement, right? How do we get our cycle times down a little bit more? How, driver wise, are we training our drivers to get around good swerve drive defense and things? These are areas that they can improve upon.
Yeah,
sure.
And it's good that they can improve, because that means that we'll be showing them higher in the coming weeks.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Okay, well, hopefully, I think we will.
Rigged. All right.
So that brings us to our next question. Who are the 195 CyberKnights? Out of Southington, Connecticut and Southington High School, it's the CyberKnights. With a record of 15-2-0, they were the first pick and winners at the Western New England District event. In an excellent first showing of the season, the CyberKnights debuted their elevator on a top pivot. And even with first event type difficulties, they showed us that it was nighttime by finals. And when they were consistently running about 8 cycles or more per match. This is only their first event, and they'll certainly improve by their next. It's worth noting that they were one of the only alliances consistently putting up 150 plus points a match in finals, with an average playoff score of 158.6. Holy cow. So, congrats to 195 on a stellar debut, and we'll see you in 2 weeks at Hartford, and me specifically, I'll be there, and I'll definitely be taking a look at that thing up close. It's very impressive.
My first experience with 195 was actually at the World Championship in 2018, where they beat us in the division finals to go to Einstein. So congrats to them for that. But yeah, no, Ari and I were talking before we went live here, and they're a team that I think you put it really well, that districts has really benefited them. They're one of the top teams in their district, just super, super impressive.
Maybe I was talking about a different team. 195 has always been impressive in my mind. I think they've been a top team for years now, and they had a little bit of a hiccup last year, but this year they've just come out of the gate storming, saying, yes, we are the perennial New England powerhouse, and we're here to prove it this year. So really looking forward to seeing them and playing against them.
Yeah, a lot of good New England representation already so far on this list. And I'll agree with you. 195, they did have a little bit of a hiccup, but they still, they were end up being like division semifinals and stuff. So it wasn't the worst year, but I think their first event they had some big issues, right? So looking at where they are now, it just seems like they're back up to the 195 we kind of expect to from a pre-COVID standpoint. And it was really cool to watch them play and one of their other alliance partners who may or may not be mentioned later, since we don't want to spoil anything, right? Just watching these two robots really makes you excited to watch the charged up game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Blast to watch. So let's move up to the 18th spot. Out of Spencerport, New York and Spencerport High School, it's Ranger Robotics. With an overall record of 19-3-0, they were the first pick and winner of the Finger Lakes Regional. And they're currently ranked second at Long Island 1 right now. They are a perennial New York powerhouse, and they have a history of building great machines with even greater potential. And this year they seem to have hit their stride early on. They pull mainly from the floor and double substation. They've got a really great intake, but they're still taking the time to line up. But of course, that will be improved as they attend their 3 separate regional events this season. They have a 3-game piece and balance auto that they shared in their reveal video. but this translated in competition to mostly a 2 to 2.5 game piece in matches. So hopefully they'll continue to, as they continue to compete, we'll see this pick up speed and get to 3. They are competing right now at Long Island 1, so if you're looking for some midweek action tomorrow, head over there as they take Downstate by storm. And also wave hi to Justin for us. So congrats on the win, 30-15, and looking forward to the rest of your season.
Yeah, 30-15, we've started to see them pop up more. And yeah, as you said, big shout out to Justin as well, too, is, if you don't know, is one of our FRC Top 25 hosts and fun founders as well. And it's cool to just watch this team continue to evolve and kind of just push the limit a little bit more. I think a lot of times when they were, I heard when the reveal video came out, like, okay, do you need the swerve and more of the arm that they're kind of doing as well too? And I think they're starting to show that, yeah, this is a big benefit to have. I love the type of intake that they have. I'm still a big fan of, even in this game, of having very wide intakes for robots as well for ground pickup. We're seeing some of the other high-end teams going with, pickups that are 18 inches or something like that. And I think that's the wrong call. And I think 30-15 is showing why having nice wide intakes can be very fruitful in your delivery. They had a rough start their first couple of matches at their first event, but it looks like that they're just doing quite well. And as you said, Ari, number 2 right now at Long Island. So excited to see how they wind up. And I'm sure they're still one of the favorites or the favorite of the Long Island event.
They
I
are
pushed
definitely
back on that a
the
little bit,
favorite at the
Tyler.
Long Island event.
Sorry about that, Ari.
You're
I
good.
pushed back on that a little bit, Tyler. As a team with a 13-inch wide intake, there are pros and cons to both.
Sure.
But I also promised my team's programmer I'd give a shout out and really thank 3015 for their Path Planner program. I know that they are raising the bar for autonomous modes across the world. We use it to great effect, and I want to shout them out for that.
There are so many teams that we do behind the bumpers interviews with now that are using Path Planner. It is absolutely crazy. Or they're using Path Planner or deriving like their own custom dashboard based off of Path Planner as well too. So yeah, totally. That's a great shout out, man. Like it is so cool to see how much inspiration is there.
All right, with that, let's move up to the 17 spot. Out of Windham, New Hampshire and Windham High School, it's the Windham Windup. With a record of 36-3, they were the winner at the Granite State District and finalists at North Shore this past weekend. 34-67 came into this season as first rank at week 0, and then they've upped the ante every single event they've been to ever since. Debuting their 2.5 game piece auto this past weekend, they mostly play from the double substation, their small size and excellent driving around defense, allowing smart path planning. They're competing back-to-back this week, and we'll see where Windham winds up before district champs at North Shore this weekend. So they're actually in conversation for most matches of the season, if you count week 0. Even with Granite State being one day, they still have possibly 3 events to go. I mean, you have North Shore and then district champs and then hopefully championships, but they're already at 39 matches and still going.
Having just done a back-to-back event, more power to them. It's a difficult deal. It's taxing on the robot and the mentors, the students. We had to take a full week off after our back-to-backs just to give the kids time to catch up on homework. So I don't know how they do it, but super impressive machine. They were one that during week 0, I pointed to them and I said, all right, this is what we have to do. This is what the level that we need to strive for. And they really set the bar high early on, and they've lived up to it.
Yeah, especially with their build thread too. They're an open alliance team. We've been watching them all through the season as they've really constructed this robot, and I think it's been really cool to watch that.
And plug, they do have a behind the bumpers. Go check them out as well too.
Yes.
Done by you, Ari. So yeah, So make sure you go check that out to get some of the inner workings. I'm actually curious. I don't know if any of you know like if they've done improvements afterwards, because I know Ari, when the interview came out, they were showing like, hey, these couple things might be changed in the next couple of weeks. So it'd be interesting to see what has been changed from that robot.
You can check their build thread for that. They have done a few improvements and a few that did not end up on the robot, like the thing that they showed in the video. But definitely check out their build thread for that. They have a lot of interesting insights there. Okay, so while you're doing that, if you've come back from that now, let's move up to our 16 spot. Out of Greenville, Texas and Greenville High School, it's the RoboWranglers. With a record of 13-7-0, they were district event finalists at the FIT Fort Worth District. After a short and sweet reveal video, 148 took to the field for the first time this weekend and seated 5th in a fairly deep field of robots. Despite a slow start working out issues, they were able to wrangle their robot into a consistent scoring machine by the end of the day Saturday. They have a clean design that is able to effectively manipulate tipped cones and cubes from the floor. Their intake might not be as fast as some other teams we'll hear about tonight, but they're far from their ceiling, and they only have room to improve. And they will. Congrats on the finalists at Fort Worth, and looking forward to what y'all bring to Amarillo Week 5, Team 148.
Potential is the key word for me. I mean,
Potential.
148 at their floor comes in at number 16. I think that says a lot about the program. And I have no doubt that they're going to be climbing the rankings. They're going to be a team to reckon with going further into the season. And they still got the all black everything. Their branding is on point, even though we didn't get a cool reveal video.
I think it was a cool reveal video.
Cool, but short.
I'll be the one that asks the question, is 16 an appropriate spot for them?
No, there's some name recognition going on there, but that's part of the game. They've built up a reputation, and I think in terms of robot performance, no. There are, a number of teams I would have ranked above them, but in terms of potential, they're maybe appropriately ranked.
I think they still make this list, though. I think that given the improvements that they did throughout the competition and their swoop upwards, I think that they still make the list.
Their EPA still shows that they're doing quite well, right? Like 51.2 is still a very respectable EPA for things. One other thing I want to talk about actually with this team is 148 picking 2 rookie teams to be part of their alliance at Fort Worth as well too. I thought it was a really interesting strategy to go with. 9105 is a really slick looking robot, and so does 9128. I just looked at when I saw the alliance selections because I was following 3005 a lot, or 3005. Sorry, I got to correct myself on that. So I know that they're all gonna be mad now. So, but. Watching that, and then I saw 2 rookie teams drafted. I'm like, holy cow! Like either there's got to be some ambitious strategy going on, or something different. And obviously, it worked pretty well for them getting to the finals. 148. I don't remember if it was them or somebody else, but I think in finals 2 had a Rio reboot or something like that that caused some issues in their second finals match as well too. So I think there is a lot of potential for 148. I think we're all in agreement that they're not quite at the max where they could be, but I think. In their next event, could we see them in a top 10 team? Yeah, absolutely.
I think they ran a really cool strategy in finals too. Finals 1, where they had all 3 robots on offense, and they were really trying to cycle and bring in defense into those cycles. So that was the match I chose to show. But if you have time, take the time and watch that one, because that is how they end up beating an alliance we may hear more about later.
Let's hop into number 15 as we go through a perennial team up here on the FRC Top 25, and that's going to be team number 180. Coming in from Stuart, Florida, and a 4-H team, it's S.P.A.M. 26-9-1, and we're the winners of the Orlando Regional. 180 is a perennial contender at all events they attend, and their first event at South Florida, they see themselves go down in the finals in 2 matches against other top 25 teams, 695 and 179. Spoilers. At Orlando, they would go on to seed 3rd and be picked up by 179 to be part of the number 1 alliance. The finals, which you can hear more about in FRC Recap, went to 4 matches after a win, tie, loss, and finally another win to secure the victory. They'd also go on to pick up the Innovation and Control Award as well, too. And S.P.A.M. has one more event to go before championships as they compete at the upcoming Tallahassee Regional next week. But congrats to S.P.A.M. as they continue a great run in the charge-up season in the number 15 spot.
Can we talk about that alliance, that pairing of Florida teams for that number 1 alliance? They're probably the 3 most recognizable teams from Florida, at least that I can think of. Crazy to me that 1902 is there for them for being the 3rd robot.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. I think that anytime you can get a team that has such a good program as 1902 in the 3rd round, I don't care what their stats are, I'm picking them.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's keep moving on to our number 14th spot, and we just kind of mentioned this team, but it's going to be team 695 Bison Robotics from Beechwood, Ohio, and Beechwood High School with 31-2-0. They won the South Florida and Miami Valley Regional just this past week. 695 has, I think, been the biggest surprise of the year that we've seen from all teams coming through. Took South Florida with the number 1 seed against the powerhouse of teams that were at South Florida. It was absolutely incredible, and they faced a tough lineup at Miami Valley where they would take their first loss in Qual 59, so went a really long time before losing a match. They'd go on and seed first again and pick up the number 2 ranked team from Wisconsin, 1732 Hilltoppers, and pick up a pretty darn good-looking robot in 1708 Amped Robotics. Their alliance had a close call in playoff match number 7, winning by just 1 point, and then they lose match 11 after 1732 had a piece break off the robot, and 1708 also died in the match, sending them to the lower bracket. Some unfortunateness going on there. However, they would battle back, winning their next 3 matches to take the blue banner and also the quality award as well. 695 isn't done yet. You'll see them at the Buckeye Regional in week 5. And then, of course, at Worlds, where I don't think you can claim this team to be a dark horse anymore. They're going to be high contenders or possibly locks in their division, especially if they can get a little improvement as well. I'd like to see their auto improve to a multi-piece and balanced auto. I think that's really the one thing that's missing from this team. It will be interesting to see if it's possible because they have that front intake, right? So I'm not sure if they can quite swivel around the way they need to go. But if they can do it, I think that's really going to put them as a lock in their division. So congratulations to 695, my favorite surprise team by far of the year so far.
I think all of our favorite surprise teams so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there a most improved team award? If so, I think they're a lock for that award. I want to know the story there. I want to know what happened. Did they get new mentorship? Did they get what turned their program around? I want to hear that story so that we can learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, I want to know more. I mean, I was talking to James from 179. I pinged him in Discord after I was looking at South Florida, and I was like, what is happening? Who is this team? Are they actually like that good? And they are. And he talked to them, and apparently they did a total redesign in the off season this year and just completely got it this year. Built the right robot for the game and had the students to back it up. But I think not even a behind the bumpers, but a behind the team. Like, what is going on there? Like, we need to get some sort of input at Worlds.
And we do have a behind the bumpers to 695, so make sure you check that out as well. But yeah, I agree that might be another segment piece to make, because hearing about what's going on with the team would be phenomenal. Let's keep moving on to our number 13th ranked team, and they're actually ranked 13th again from last week as well, even though they did better this week, but a lot more events this week, by the way, so that means many more teams in contention. But it's going to be 1756 Argos. 1756 are from Peoria, Illinois, and Limestone City High School with a 27-8-0 record. Winners at Central Illinois Regional and finalists last week in St. Louis. 1756 Argos has been one of my favorite teams for a long time, and CIR really is their home base, as they have won CIR every year since 2018. Though I'm not sure either team will admit it, it does seem like there's an interesting rivalry between them and the RoboTiers at every event they play, and this would be no exception as well. And RoboTiers, we won't be talking about them this week in the top 25, another phenomenal team I love to follow as well. Argos would seed first and pick up 41-43 Mars Wars, who we mentioned before, who they lost against also last week in St. Louis, and would also pick up 40-96 Control Z, where they would take the event in just 5 matches with an average win margin of over 60 points in the playoffs. An absolutely dominant performance. I will say in Finals 1, RoboTiers was not able to play, which contributed to some of that as well too, but still an absolutely amazing performance by 1756. Also, keep an eye out for 4096 in our clips of the week coming up too. 1756 Argos is one of the best out there as they continue their excellence into this year once again. They got a few weeks until championship, and I can't wait to see how this team hones their robot. Shout out to some of my longtime friends, Tim, Vera, and Jack, and the entire Argos team for continuing to impress each year, and congratulations once again to 1756 Argos.
1756 always one of those perennial contenders that inhabits our 26 through 50 spot. So I'm really glad to see them taking 13th again up in our top 25.
I want to shout out the scouting team on 1756, picking up 4096 that late in the draft, taking their arm off, making them a defensive robot. Just well played strategically. It was the right pick. I kept waiting for them to go. I followed CIR really closely, and Yep. Well, the moment they went there, the number 1 seed looked really, really good.
Let's move on to our number 12th team. I just saw chat. I won't say complain, but mention it. That there's a lack of Canadian teams. So let's bring in a Canadian team here. Ask and ye shall receive. It is going to be 3683 from Waterloo, Canada, and St. David Catholic Secondary School. It's Team Dave, 14-4-0. They had an absolutely phenomenal performance, but were finalists at the Ontario Western University Engineering event. Team Dave is an old school name in the FRC Top 25, and it's great to see them back on here. Dave had 3 losses in quals, but only missed out on 3 extra RPs in all of those 12 matches to earn the number 1 spot at the event. Picking up another team we've seen in the FRC Top 25 was Makeshift Robotics, and they wrapped up with Michigan team 288, the RoboDogs. With a 2.5-piece auto, Dave is quick, has a great ground intake, and has a very fast elevator. Their intake from the substation is interesting for cones, as the human player has to kind of like shove them in as fast as possible into the bot. So interesting to see if they can improve upon that at all as they go through. Dave did go down to the finals against 4907, 1325, and 5870, but they still put on a great show, and they'll get a shot at redemption week 4 at the Waterloo event. I said that wrong. So congratulations to 3683 Team Dave, and welcome back to the FRC Top 25. It's supposed to be Waterloo, right? So.
And it's call and response. You can't say it all yourself.
Okay. I mean, I wasn't going to put you all on the spot and have awkward air. And said I screwed up, and I'll take it on myself. So
I would have done it. Come on, you guys committed it.
Water.
Lou. Oh, come on, Ari. You left me alone.
I was going to leave you hanging. I was going to do it.
Wow. Making friends.
Hey, I got a hot take for you, though.
All right.
I think 3683 is the number 2 best team in Canada this year. I don't know. I don't even know if it's a hot take, but I'll take Team Dave over anybody except for OP.
Sure.
Okay. I think it's a lukewarm take.
Okay. They should be a top 10 team this week. They were fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes being finalists can set you back a little bit too with that. I still agree with you. I think they were absolutely fantastic for it, but I think sometimes when you look at voting, that can hinder you a little bit. You know, winning events does also help count for the top 25.
Right.
Let's wrap up until we get to our top 10 here. With the team that really needs no introduction, has been doing phenomenal for so long. And actually, we're going to talk a bit about their performance here, because I think this is a team that usually I might complain about a little bit, but I think is really well earned in this spot. And that's going to be Team 118 from Houston, Texas, and Clear Creek Independent School District. It's the Robonauts, 28-6-0. They were the winners of the Fit Channel View event in week 2. Robonauts were looking good coming out of week 2 with the number 1 seed. They had the Impact Award, Dean's List finalists, and event win as they headed to the Magnolia Regional outside of their district in Mississippi. So here they'd rank 4th and be picked up on the number 2 Alliance, Captain 2992, the SS Prometheus. The number 2 Alliance looked dominant in their first match, but in match 8, squeaked out only a 1-point win after 2992 became disabled. They would advance to match 11 against the number 1 seed, where after an early lead, 2992 would once again become disabled, but got disabled in the loading station, causing a loss essentially, where they'd face a number 8 seed with a chance to get back into the finals, where their alliance would lose this match, knocking them out of the event due to some unfortunate issues both in autonomous and teleop that quite frankly had nothing to do with 118. It's easy for many of us to be critical of 118 on paper and to discount this team, but I'm glad that many voted them into the top 15, where I have to admit I completely agree with this week. Sometimes I don't always favor that way. Watching 118, they perform well, and sometimes bad luck is out of your control. I would like to see their cycle times get a bit quicker, especially with their lineup, but overall, 118 has built a great machine. They still have 3 more events scheduled right now, including the DCMP, but they're also going to Fit Houston and Fit Space City, which is both kind of local events for them in week 5 and week 6 for DCMP then. And there's no doubt in my mind you'll see 118 as a favorite at all of these events. I got to ask you all, how do you feel about 118? Because to me, I think they unfortunately just had some really bad circumstances outside of their control.
Yeah, when I first saw them in the reveal video, I didn't really think that much of them. I thought they just built a robot, they'll be fine. And they really came out of week 2 looking pretty good, and I was really excited to see what they would do in Mississippi. But I mean, circumstances under control, and this game is kind of unforgiving in that way. If your robot disables in a certain location, it's really hard to get to places, then it's out of your control. So I also think this is a good place for them. I definitely wouldn't have had them higher. I could entertain having them a little bit lower, but overall, I think 11's good for them.
Totally agreed. I think 11's fine. Anywhere in the top 15 would have been fine for me. What I would say, though, Texas is wild this year. They're going to be – I'm excited for that district championship. There are going to be so many good teams. The top level in Texas is always good. I think this year in particular, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
We have a lot of really good cyclers in Texas. So 118's got to up their cycling game, and I am sure that they will.
Coming up next, we're going to be going into our clips of the week for you to see as well, too. We're excited for all those clips that got submitted to discord.gg/first updates now. But before we do that, let's take a quick break and thank our friends at SolidWorks for their continued support of First Updates Now. Teams, if you are using SolidWorks, make sure you log into the 3D Experience app to get more for your team. Great trainings, by the way, for those looking to get already ready for next season as well, too. Of course, there's a lot of great resources you can find, including the field and game elements and more, but also connect with other teams and other people being part of the 3D Experience that are not just in First as well, too. So go over to solidworks.com/first. If you don't have SolidWorks, you can also download it for free for your team, both on desktop, cloud CAD apps, and completely in the cloud with XDesign as well, too. So head on over to solidworks.com/first. Get more involved with SolidWorks. With that said, just a few things as we come to our top 10. We do have a giveaway from Andy Mark coming up a little bit. We'll take a look at our 26 through 50, including some snubs that we all have in mind as well, too. But we still have 10 more fantastic teams on the FRC Top 25 to talk about. Who's coming up next?
All right, coming in, we're breaking into our top 10. We have Team 3538, the RoboJackets out of Rochester, Michigan. This is actually my second time talking about them on the top 25. They were the winners of the Week 1 Milford District event, and now they're the winners of the Week 3 Muskegon District event. With an impressive season record of 32-3, 3538 has been the #1 alliance captain and #1 pick in their 2 events so far. They've only lost a single match in the playoffs and show no signs of slowing down as we get further into the competition season. Their robot uses a wacky design that I really don't know how to describe eloquently to intake cones and cubes at rapid speeds from the double substation, managing to score a total of 10 game objects in their first finals match of the Week 3 Muskegon event, in which they never had a score below 135 in both the playoffs and the finals. They were very consistent with their cycle times and are no doubt in strong standing going into their Week 5 event at Troy. 3538 practices harder and has more attention to detail than any team that I'm aware of within FRC. They're going to improve dramatically before FIM Champs, and they're going to be one of the top teams both at FIM Champs and the championship event in Houston.
Ryan,
if there's anything to describe this team, it's fast. I mean, you see that thing and it's flying across the field and you're like, wait, did I leave my YouTube playback speed up at 2 again? No, they are just that fast. Their elevator comes out that fast. And I think they're built to be probably one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah, they are ranked too low. They should be. I agree with some of chat. The top 5-ish, yeah, right around there is kind of where I put them. By the way, Ryan, we talked about this last time. It's Muskegon.
Oh, Muskegon. I'm not a word guy, Tyler.
Fake Midwesterner.
Well, that's what I was going to say. As a Midwesterner, I think these things are expected. So.
Okay, sorry. I'm sorry, those that live in Muskegon.
But yeah, robot-wise, yeah. I mean, RoboJackets looks freaking awesome.
They're a top 5 team.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, as you said, just how quick they go on the field, how quick their acquisition is from the substation as well too. This team has everything going right for it, and they're just overall. If you just watch their matches, their overall strategy that they take into it, their drivers are so well trained. You know they're doing the right things, and shout out of course to their entire drive team for just making it look so easy in these events.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, path planning is so important this year, like which side of the substation you're going to go on. They're an incredible team to watch and learn from. I think the question is, have they hit their ceiling?
No.
And does it matter?
Yeah.
That's a better question. I think 35-38, what they do is they'll time their matches and like every little action that they do, they get a scout with a stopwatch, and they'll analyze, okay, how long did X action take, and they'll look at, over the course of an event where their inefficiencies, and they're going to attack those inefficiencies. So did they hit their ceiling? No, they didn't, because they know what they're bad at, and they're going to get better at it.
Put them in the top 5 just for that.
Right, we'll change them right now. No.
All right. So breaking into the number 9 spot, we have another fantastic Texas team, 6672 Team Fusion Core from Irving, Texas. They won the Week 3 Fort Worth event along with their first pick, Team 3005, 3005 for you, Eric. During this event, they earned the Autonomous Award. They also have a season record of 27-7 between their 2 events. So they've been successful continuously. During their Week 1 event, they were finalists, and they've qualified to participate in the World Championship in Houston. Their robot incorporates a unique double-jointed pass-through arm design, and their arm can intake can handle both cubes and cones, scoring them efficiently at all levels. 6672 has positioned themselves as one of the top teams in Texas. They're going to be a real threat at the Texas District Championship, and they're going to be a real threat at whatever field they end up on for the World Championship in Houston. They're really fun to watch. I love the pass-through design. Really excited to see where they go.
Yeah, 6672 is one of those teams where I know it's weird to say that they are amazingly improved from last year, since they won Worlds last year, but they won Worlds as a third, fourth robot that they did play a decent amount on there. But like, wow, this robot, I got to see them at Waco, and I have to admit, hands down, I thought they were going to win Waco. When I saw them, I thought they were the most consistent robot the entire time as they went through. Texas Torque had a lot of great improvement, but at first they had a little bit of issues. But I thought we were going to see those 2 teams in the finals, or some combination with them, maybe in 6800 at the time. But Fusion Core, just like I said, they're a team that I think is starting to get some more great recognition. And congratulations to them. I love their bot. It's there's nothing overly complex about it. It just works really well. And I love robots like that, where they're just, they just go. The one thing I would say, I always like to look for, where can we find improvements to every team? I do think their drive is maybe a little bit slow for what it is. I would like to see them. Now, here's the problem, though. I'm not sure if they can go faster, because they might be too top heavy. When we talked to them, they already had 30 pounds of ballast on their robot. So I don't know if they can do any more for that to speed up their robot or not. So I really don't know. I'd be interested in hearing from them if that's possible. But that's really where I'd see improvement. It's just I think their drive needs to get a little bit faster.
Yeah, Texas is crazy this year. I mean, how many Texas teams are we going to talk about tonight? It seems like they're popping up everywhere.
Maybe at least one more. We'll see.
I think that was the last one, wasn't it?
No.
Okay.
So Eric's blood pressure rising there. So.
All right. So not a Texas team. In the 8th spot, we've got Team 176 Aces High out of Windsor Locks, Connecticut, and Windsor Locks High School and Suffield High School. 176 has been a dominant force in New England for years, and this year is no different. With 14 wins in their team history, including winning the World Championship way back in 1999, the 2022 New England District Championship as well. Team 176 continues their winning ways at the Western Northeast event, going 16-1 with their lone loss coming in their very first match of the event. 176 teamed up with another New England powerhouse who we've already talked about, Team 195, and they posted extremely high scores, ranging from 149 all the way up to 168 points. Their 2-piece and balanced auto puts them in a really strong position as they begin teleop each match. Their robot design, it has an insane number of degrees of freedom. It's strikingly similar to 971 Spartan Robotics. I don't know if they talk to each other, but their robots are, aside from the drivetrain, are very, very similar. Next up for 176, we will have the New England District Championship, and almost certainly after that, the World Championship. I'm looking forward to seeing how they improve. I hope that I'm able to see that robot in person. It's super cool.
Yeah, as someone who has seen that robot in person and got to talk to them about that robot in person, it is every bit as magical as it looks on the field. I love the way that they play this game. They have such a good ground intake, and then they intake from the substations just as well. They can switch off easily, and they know what they're doing with it. So, very impressed by them. I think it is a phenomenal machine, and it's cool to watch. And I'm really looking forward to what 176 comes up with. Actually, the team that we were talking about who had benefited from districts was not 195, but 176. They've really, really upped their game in the past few years. I think it's just the past few years that they've really, hit their stride and become a team that we talk about in the top 10 of the top 25. They absolutely deserve the 8 spot, in my opinion, and I think that they're in conversation for making the actual champs top 25 this year, which is pretty cool.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like looking at all teams so far, this is definitely a top 25 team, probably top 10, I think, overall, or very close to that. I'll tell you, if they did end up working with another team from all the way, in California, that would definitely be like an East-West Coast collaboration project, if you ask me. So, definitely a phenomenal job by 176. Like you said, I mean, you look back like 5-6 years ago, very different team than what you see now. And definitely in contention for one of the best teams in the world this year. Last year as well, too, I was really hoping that we were going to see, after they had 4 blue banners last year going into the championships, to see them get knocked in the semis, I think was, I'm sure, disappointing on their end because this team was, last year was a team that should have been Einstein worthy. And this year I expect to see the same thing, or expect to see them on Einstein, really, I should say.
Yeah, expect to see them in district champs finals, expect to see them on Einstein. I think they're a cool robot. They're going all the way.
Yeah.
That's my hot take for the night.
Totally agreed.
Yeah.
Cold take.
Yeah.
All right. The pride of Riviera Beach, Florida. Coming in at number 7, we have Team 179, Children of the Swamp. So with the record of 29-5-1, 179 has proven to be one of the top teams in the world. This week, they pulled in their second blue banner of the season, winning the Orlando Regional. 179 went 15-2-1 on their way to be the first Alliance captain, where they selected Team 180, and somehow they got 1902 as the second round pick. The powerhouse Florida Alliance had little trouble until the finals, where they went into 4 matches against a resilient number 3 seed. 3 out of 4 matches were decided by 10 points or fewer, with 1 tie. 179 eventually came away with the victory in Finals 4 by scoring 20 game pieces with their alliance, along with a double balance. With a 2-piece autonomous, efficient ground cone intake, and elite tier driving, 179 will find themselves in a position to be one of the top robots on their division at the World Championship in Houston.
Yeah, I think we talk about 179, and when we talk about them at champs, we're always like, oh, they went to some early week regionals, and they just aren't operating at the same level that we're seeing district champs at right now. And then every single year at the World Championship, we get proven wrong. Like 179 just practices and looks at their cycles and absolutely comes through at World Champs. So I cannot wait to see what they do there.
Yeah, definitely going to be a very strong contender at championships as well too. And I'll agree with you, Ari. I've been the one, I think, that's personally said that sometimes, where it'll be interesting to see where they continue on here. When you have I think one of the great things that they're doing is they are competing week 6 as well too, right? So this isn't it for them. They fully qualify, but like I always wonder when teams have so much time off. And right, I don't know, maybe if you can chime in on this part, but like I know your team has many weeks off until championships. I budget aside, I think it's awesome that they get to compete week 6 because I think that keeps you just that extra hungry, just that little bit more.
Yeah, having a big break, I'm a little nervous. Typically on teams that I've been with in the past, we've competed week 4, week 6. We've never, competed, qualified week 1, played week 2, and then, have a 6-week break until championship. Yeah. It's difficult to stay fresh, but yeah, just practicing. I think there's a lot of way teams can improve without playing an event.
Stay fresh.
All right. Yeah. So I gave a little spoiler here, but now coming in at number 6, we have one of the best programmed robots in FRC, Team 971 Spartan Robotics out of Mountain View, California. 971 is coming off the San Francisco Regional with a blue banner in hand. Spartan went 13-3 with an insane run of 2v3 matches throughout the playoffs with their partner, 8016 out of commission, and the first available backup robot also out of commission, not able to drive. 971 and 972 ran the gauntlet and continued putting up scores in the 140s. With their three-piece balancing auto, 971 enters teleop with an advantage nearly every time. They turned a lot of heads with their robot reveal when they showed a tank drive, not a swerve drive. You think, 971, you think automatic swerve drive. Nope, they have a tank drive, and they've clearly proven their decision to be the right one for their team with the performance they had this week. Their arm has many degrees of freedom, probably as many as any robot in FRC this year. It's really a programming masterpiece, and it served them extremely well. 971 will be competing in the Monterey Bay Regional in Week 5 against some strong competition. They'll also be in Houston as a top contender to make Einstein.
Real quick, Ryan, I just want to chime in. You don't need Sword Drive. Watch this play as 971 gets bumped as they come out of the station here in a second. Oh, crap. I might have went back too far. Wait on their next cycle here. It is absolutely incredible just to see what happens. I know it's a fluke, but you'll see this as they go to this. It should be this station cycle here. They come out. It's like, oh, you don't even need Sword Drive because they're just going to completely bump going, watch this. Whoop! It is 180 right around and go through. So, super, man, I agree with you. Like, not seeing a swerve come out was a little surprising, but man, are they proving people wrong that West Coast is still alive and kicking.
Can we talk about how they won the regional with 2 robots? Like 2v3 in this game? That is absolutely insane. So 971 and 972 playing 2 robots versus 3 and outscoring their opponent in teleop. So I think absolutely fantastic stuff from the 971 machine this week.
We did talk about this a little bit on recap and roundup as well too. So you can see in this,
still talk about it.
Yeah, you can see in this match that 1351 did die in this match. So in finals 2 there was a dead robot as well, but they were able to take finals 1 in that 2v3 format, and just to even get where they were with how they did was absolutely incredible. So yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's crazy seeing this game that is so unforgiving in points that 971 and their entire alliance. We shouldn't discount their alliance partners as well, especially 972 in this, right? Doing a phenomenal job too. Really cool to see. So let's, before we get into, we're going to get into our snubs in a second here before we get into our top 5. But before we do that, we do have a giveaway from our friends at AndyMark. Let's talk about that a little bit on here. So friends at AndyMark are going to be giving away both a AndyMark hoodie that you see on screen here, and also, why not, some AndyMark branded safety glasses. So a little bundle for you there. If you're interested in winning, type safety in chat to be eligible to win. Don't forget, you do need to be following our channel in order to be eligible, and we do give a little bit extra luck to our subscribers just because we rig it that way. So safety, that's your keyword. Type that in chat right now, or any combination of safety. As long as the word safety is in there, it counts. So type that in chat right now, and that's your opportunity to win both the hoodie and the safety glass. Thanks a lot to AndyMark for the awesome giveaway as well. Let's jump into our ranks 26 through 50 for week number 3. We'll put those up on the screen. So lots of very well-deserving teams to be in the top 25. Aria, I'm going to start with you first. What team do you feel that is either in this area or maybe even outside the top 50 that you think should be in the top 25 this week? Who got snubbed?
So I'm going to talk about 341 Miss Daisy. I feel like we've said, we have one FMA team in our top 25. Miss Daisy has been, this is their second event that they've gone to, and they've been absolutely just so consistent in both events that they've attended, and absolutely going to be a powerhouse in FMA this season, like they have been for past seasons. They're currently, I think, 24-9-1 or something like that, something crazy, but absolutely great team. Great robot to watch, and I wanted to see them higher, but alas.
Ryan, who do you got?
I'll leave the ultimate snub to you, Tyler. But I would take 2481. I think they should have been I would have thought just name recognition they'd make, closer to the top 25. They had a kind of a rough early, they built up as they went through their event, and they found themselves performing at a high level toward the end. I would argue that they're going to be a top 25 contender at their next event. I think they've got a lot of potential.
Yeah, shout out actually to our voters this week for not completely going for the name recognition route. I see a few big names on this list that did not make the top 25. So congratulations, viewers, you did it.
I mean, Ryan, I'm going to disagree with you a little bit, Ryan. I think I've been a long time fan of RoboTiers. I don't think they performed up to the area. I agree that they were climbing up to it, but I don't think they made it to that spot. Are there a couple teams maybe we could have swapped out? Yeah, possibly, but I don't know. I could see them higher. I don't know if I'd see them in the top 25 this week. But.
The other pick I had was the only 5-wheel swerve drive on this list, 4907.
There we go.
Only thing that confused me about them is that they have that really cool design that they can hang their 5th wheel off the edge of the charging station, but in the playoffs they climbed in the middle, so they didn't get the benefit of their design in quite a few playoff matches. But really fantastic robot. It doesn't quite jump out of the building like their last year's robot did, but I think they're going to do really well going forward. They're another team to watch.
They're not jumping off; they're hanging off. It's completely different.
I got 2 teams in mind because I'll go with Chad on one of them. I think one of the easy ones is Triple Helix. Not seeing them. They're not even in the top 50, are they? I was trying to see. That's let me look. I think they were like 53 or something like that. But that's a huge snub right there. I mean, CHS unfortunately kind of gets snubbed a lot. But this year, I'll have to admit, last year I kind of ragged on a little bit. I didn't think they were as good as some people were saying for things. I think this year they are. And I think they were looking really good. So disappointed to see them. I don't know if this was the number one you were talking about before, Ryan, but 1987 Bronco Bots should be quite a few spots up from where they were in this area. Bronco Bots, they play in the Midwest. I don't know what you consider that area necessarily, but
the Heartland.
Yeah, Heartland. They played the Heartland Regional. Very up there. But absolutely just dominated their event as they went through. And I highly recommend that more attention be paid to the Bronco Bots for future weeks because they looked absolutely phenomenal at their event. So looking forward to how they're going to do in the future. By the way, big shout out to Team Apprentice in 38 as well too. A lot of love is given to Appreciate, but Apprentice making the top 50 as well too as they won the event with Appreciate was really cool.
I'm seeing a lot of 2075 snub in chat, and I have to agree. I think that robot is stunningly simple for what
Enigma,
it is.
Right?
But
yeah,
Enigma. 47. Yeah. I think they should be higher.
Yeah, do better, voters. No.
Yeah.
All right, who
tell
do we got?
Tell your friends in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, tell your friend. I will say, this is definitely one of the higher counts we've had with 600. The reality is with FRC top 25 is that, if we did top 50, let's say we did a whole show top 50, the show would be like 3 hours, right? So we can only do 25. And then a couple years ago we did 40 and then we expanded it to 50. There was 1,300 teams that competed this week. It is very hard to even sometimes get into the top 50. So respect to the teams that did. We never, we don't ever mean to say that should not have made it or anything like that, but we always like to try to provide an unfiltered opinion if we can on this too. So congratulations to all the teams who did make it into the top 50 this week. And thank you, voters, for your votes as well too. And let other people know about the FRC top 25. Top 5. Who do we got winding up here?
Okay. Yeah. So with that, let's head into our top 5. Our top 5 teams for this week. So in at number 5, out of Hazafon, Israel, it's Orbit. With a record of 27-7-0. They were the winners at ISR 1 and semifinalists at ISR 3. 1690 is a complex robot that caught all of our attention with their reveal video. They've got also my favorite auto of the year, where they place a cone and then they shoot 2 cubes onto the high and middle scoring shelves. Their driving and teleop is coordinated and smart, and they effectively push away defense that's in their orbit while protecting game pieces they're collecting. Once they complete the top row, they bowl in cubes from outside the community. ISR 3 was kind of funky. None of the top teams that we talk about here year to year or even this week made finals, and there was definitely an increase in defense from quals to playoffs, which definitely inhibited some of those top scorers. But to give credit where it's due, Israel's quite deep this year, and 1690 still stands out in the field as a top robot. Catch them next at ISR District Champs this week, and congrats on a great season so far, 1690.
Can we just talk about a crazy event ISR3 was for a second? Like you had you had the world records set at that event at the time. I think what was it 163, Ryan?
Something like that. 176, something like that.
Something
I
like
thought
that.
it was a little higher.
But Ryan did a fun analysis on that, so I asked him specifically. But looking at that event, you had, first off, the world record was not set by 1577 or 1690, and then you get into ISR3, and both 1577 and 1690 end up getting knocked before finals. Wow! Like what? Like holy cow! It's crazy. Now I think the big question is number 5 an appropriate spot for 1690 for a team who didn't make the finals in their second event?
No.
Yeah, no.
So
I think that they have some places where they could improve, especially in their driving under defense. There are some teams that are lower that were definitely driving through defense better. And I think that we'll see that more at district championships. And if they can play through that versus Israel 3, where they didn't, then yes, they're the 5. But until they can, no.
So where do you put them? I guess that's really the question. I still think they're top 25.
Yeah, they're top
absolutely.
25. I think we should have talked about them in the first 5. I think they're between 20 and 25 for me.
I'll say that's a hot take right there. But yeah.
Yeah, I think they're between 15 and 10.
I would go more closer to that as well too. Either way, I mean, Orbit's a great team. I think they're one of those teams where they're extremely complex, and sometimes that complexity can hinder you sometimes. And do I expect them by this, coming up in about 5 hours to perform extremely well? Yeah, I do. And it will be great to see how both them and 1577 will be performing as well.
Here's the thing. I'm low on Orbit right now, but that isn't to say that they couldn't come out, destroy Israel District Championship, and be a powerhouse at the World Championship. Yeah. I almost expect them to be.
It's that potential word again, right? So.
Yep.
Yeah, it's all solvable issues. They got the right robot. Yeah. They just need to, a little bit of drive practice, a little bit of auton work, and boom, done. As if it's that simple. All right, with that, we'll move on to our 4 spot. Out of Austin, Texas, and Westlake High School, it's Team 2468, our 4th-ranked Team Appreciate, with an overall record of 32-1-1 and undefeated through San Antonio. 2468 was the winner of First in Texas Dallas and San Antonio. Currently first in the First in Texas District, 2468's gameplay style favors cubes and cones from the ground, which they either place up high in the early game or throw in late game. Their auto places a cone and then bowls a cube in outside of the community before balancing if they run from the side. And if they're actually one of the only teams with a consistent center auto. I know we had one earlier, but only a few teams in FRC so far have done that. And they use that for the 1.5 game pieces and engage. I really like the way they're doing their station cycles as well, where the human player throws the cube out of the zone so that they're out of the way of their other partners who truly appreciate space. Congrats on the event win, and we'll see them next at the First in Texas District Championship.
By the way, I appreciate on here, big shout out to
You appreciate?
I do. Insurify for the amazing pop-up ad on the webcast here. So very nice, very nicely done, Insurify, by the way. So
made sure to pull this match so that one would get on.
Oh, fantastic! So, yeah, man, 2468. Holy cow! Like, I got to watch them at Dallas in week 1. This might be their best robot yet. I mean, 2468 is awesome. I've been a very, very big fan of them for their chairman's in the past Impact this year, which, in my opinion, very strangely, they didn't win. They did win EI week 1, but this is a team that is not going to be in contention for to be a Hall of Fame team this year, which absolutely just blows my mind, by the way, for all the impact I know that this team has done. But on the other hand, 2468's robot this year, Very, very, very slick on the. I would agree. I think they're the second best Texas team right now. So it'd be interesting to see. Maybe a spoiler for another team coming up. But like, wow, what a great robot this year they've created. Just very slick and smooth, very kind of a bulky bot, right? When you look at it, but just able to do things very consistent. I don't necessarily think they're the quickest robot out there, but I definitely do believe they are one of the most consistent robots out there, which has led to very great success for their team.
You know, for me, I don't know how to describe them other than to say it's clean and well done. You know, they do everything really, really well, all the little things, and all of that adds up to a really, really high performing machine.
Completely agree. So let's move on to another high performing machine. In our 3 spot, out of Hamerkaz, Israel, it's Steampunk. With a record of 28-5-0, they were the winners of ISR 1 and semifinalists at ISR 3 as the second seed alliance. 1577 has a consistent over-the-bumper intake and handoff that allows them to cycle effectively from the floor. They filled the floor pickup role on an alliance well, but seem to have some trouble with substation pickups. With some improvements to this and their 2-game piece auto, we could see them truly build steam at the Israeli District Championships this week. I think they're a bit high. They don't have the autos that these other top teams do, but once they secure that, they'll be a top contender for sure because of their floor pickup. It's fast, it's quick, it's beautiful. Congrats on a great season so far, 1577. Can't wait to see what you have in store for District Champs.
I agree with you, Ari. I think top 15, top 10 range for me, but I agree that they're the best Israeli team that I've seen. They're number one there for me. I would say they have to be the favorite going into the district championship.
Yeah.
Won't shock me at all for them to team up with 1690 and roll past everybody, but we'll see. I think they've got a fantastic machine. Totally agreed about the autonomous. They've got to get that kind of figured out for champs. And it'll be interesting because I think Israel, they ship their robots out shortly after the district championship. So I don't know what we'll see between now and champs for them in terms of improvement.
I don't recall if 1577 builds multiple robots, but 1690 usually builds like 3 a lot of times.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if 1577 does or not, but like, I mean, they'll still have opportunities to work on their bots to get them better. I mean, I think we're all in agreement that if on our theoretical polls and stuff that we make, that we'd have them drop back a few spots for this. But I agree, they're still my favorite robot from Israel this year. And honestly, last year too, just looking at them, I think they blew everybody away with how well they did going on to Einstein finalists, very close to winning world championships last year by literally like one little thing. Total favorite going into ISR DCMP. I know they got knocked in semis, but just like Orbit, unfortunately things happen sometimes and they don't work the way it should. Not discounting the teams that beat them because they're very well deserving as well too, but this is a team that it would be a surprise if they don't take ISR DCMP.
For sure. So, as we say, the drama's in the 2 spot. I see in chat we're arguing over who's 1 and who's 2. And without argument, these 2 are the top 2 teams in the world this week. But taking the 2nd spot this week will be charging in from Dallas, Texas, and the Emmett J. Conrad High School. It's 3005, the RoboChargers. With a record of 33-2-0, they were the winners of the Dallas event and this weekend's Fort Worth event, where they ranked first of 34 teams with a rank score of 3.58. That is a huge number. We've talked about them week 1 as a snub, and y'all pulled through it voting for them this week. They told us that they'd be ready to take number 1 by Fort Worth, and honestly, I would say that they capitalized that. They were my number 1 this week. They're currently 4th in the world by EPA and teleop EPA, and this weekend they proved every bit of that stat. They start the match with a 3-game piece auto and then transition into tele with beautiful acquisition. One of the best designed intake systems I've ever seen in FRC. When we did our behind the bumpers with them, they were on version 11 of their intake at Dallas. So definitely check out our video with that just to look at that mechanism. Their path planning and driving has improved since last time. Their last second balances are so great to watch and make me have confidence in this game. not sure where they go from here, but it really doesn't matter because at this point they're waiting for the rest of the field to catch up. They have a little bit of an inconsistency in their auto that I can see them improving, but other than that, you can catch them next at the First in Texas District Champs. Congrats on the 2-spot 3005.
For me, Team 3005, they it's for you, Eric.
Wow, just really, really trying to grind their gears here, huh? So.
Yeah, Team 305. They did two things I want to point out. So number one, they employed a feeder strategy in a lot of their matches. They had the bucket bot that would be flying across the field, would dump a cube or cone. They would pick it up because they can pick up everything in any orientation, and they would score it. They would run a cycle in between while they were waiting for the bucket bot to give them a short cycle. Really, really effective strategy. I don't see that carrying on into the district championship level or world championship level, but super good use of strategy there. The other piece of interesting thing that I would note, they climb really, really late, and it bit them a couple times. So I'm wondering going forward if that's something that they're going to continue to push the envelope and trying to climb as late as they can, or do they try to cut back and climb at 10 like a normal team? But the most impressive robot that I've watched throughout, from the time I've seen their robot, got a sneak peek of it early on. Super impressive. Love watching them play.
I mean, when your cycle times are less than 10 seconds, I feel like you can push the envelope of when you're balancing.
They're one of the few teams that I'm okay with them doing it.
Yeah, I agree. There's only like maybe 3 teams in the world I'm okay with doing that, but them, perfect. Fits in with their style perfectly.
Shout out to 3005 for picking the tote bucket robot, by the way, for their final pick here.
They programmed an autonomous mode for that robot during the playoffs. So shout out to Double Elimination for allowing that to happen and the time between matches to be reasonable.
Shout out the programming cheesecake, apparently. So, but yeah, I mean, 3005. I mean, I got to see them in Waco week 1. They improved on pretty much everything that I thought they needed to improve upon, which was really, in my opinion, a lot from Waco to now. I think was their teleop scoring on there. As you mentioned, could we see more in auto? Yeah, potentially for something like that. But I think they had some times where they were a little slow to score, a little slow in their cycle times, and man, did they just dial it in and just get down where they needed to be for that. So shout out to everybody on all the friends that I have on that team too for things. What an incredible Robo build this year. Definitely the powerhouse of Texas right now. I think some of us that were in an inner circle were expecting this. I don't know if everybody else was coming in for this year. So really cool to see 3005 where they're at, and definitively right now the number 1 team in Texas, maybe the number 1 team in the world, very close to that. If we were to do like a full top 25 of all the teams right now, I don't know where you put them. I think absolutely in the top 5 where they are, somewhere in that. It really could go either way, but congratulations to them for a great machine.
Absolutely. So everyone in chat already said it. We know it, but let's move on to your number 1 team for week 3 on the top 25 out of Mill Creek, Washington, and Henry M. Jackson High School. It is 2910 Jack and the Bot. With an overall record of 33-3-0, they were the winners of the Glacier Peak District and the 1 seed and winner at Sundome District this past week. 2910 is currently first in the PNW District. In auto, they do 3 game pieces or 2.5 in balance in auto. Surprisingly, they're not over or through for the auto, and they're still getting 3 game pieces. So really good example for teams aiming for that without the pass-through. They play well under defense. They have zippy scoring on the double substation. They have a really low center of gravity, and they're lightweight. And they have room for improvement as well in terms of their placement and collecting time. Their ground pickup is not as fast as they are from substations, but with another district before district champs, I think we could really see some improvement for them. I like their playstyle this season. Their path planning has been great so far, so it's no surprise that they were part of the alliance with one of the world records this weekend. So catch them this next weekend at the Sammamish District event, and congrats again to this week's number 1 on top 25, 2910.
Also the shortest robot in the FRC top 25.
Could fit
Or
under the low bar
ever,
from
maybe.
2016.
Like, think about this. Like, could you imagine robots like this in 2016? Like, with this sort of capability or scoring, like you just had a robot like this that could just like extend up like that and then maybe shoot a boulder or something like that. Like, how freaking nuts! Like, how nuts is that? But
like
yeah,
971.
but sure, like 971. But yes, I remember the Transformer robot totally. But like I'm seeing to the height that 2910 is getting. Like, I think is a little bit taller than what 971 was. I could be wrong. But either way, creating. The machines that they are. I got to see this robot in person this week, and I was just floored away. I mean, it's so cool seeing the behind the glass set that we did with them, and we have a behind the bumpers probably coming out tomorrow, I'm guessing, with them as well too. You need to watch 2910 and just what's gone into this machine, how just confidently the students speak about that. You hear the passion that goes into what this team is. Just huge congrats to them. This is probably the first time they've ever been number one, I think, on the top 25. Could be wrong, but a lot of times P&W doesn't always get the love from the community that I think it deserves, and very happy to see that it did this week. And just watch this robot on the field, just cycling. It's just crazy how well they're able to circumvent defense, able to just grab game pieces really quick from the floor and from the stations as well, too. Congratulations, 2910. Very well earned.
Yeah, well deserved, definitely.
Definitely. Differentiating between the top 5 teams in the world, really the top 25 teams in the world, is going to be really, really difficult. They all seem to cap at, between 12 and 14 cycles. It's going to be difficult to differentiate between teams. I don't know who's better between them and 3005, but I think you could go either way. I know that of all the robots at championship that I'm excited to see, 2910 is number 1 on that list.
Yeah, I think I did have 3005 a bit higher just because of the experience that they've had on the field and some of the things that they've done in terms of improvement. But this is 2910's first event. Like, this is the first time we are seeing them. This is the second time.
Second time.
Yeah,
and they're playing a third one too. So.
My point is, they're going to other ones, and 3005 is just kind of going to district champs at this point. But 2910 has another event, so we are going to see them improve. There's room for improvement, and they're going to get there.
But by the way, I love that. I am actually trying to correct myself to say 3005. It just feels like y'all trying to be antagonists now on this as well too. So I'm 3005. I'm trying here, okay? Because old habits die hard with that stuff. But yeah, sincerely, congratulations to all the teams who have made the FRC top 25 this week. As mentioned, the amount of votes that keep coming in are awesome. Just a request, please make sure you do follow the rules when voting. As every week we do sometimes have to cast some votes out. So when you do vote, please vote independently. Please make sure you're not just putting the same team number 25 times, things like that. I mean, it's really not that hard. And I will tell you that every single trick that gets tried, we have seen by now, trust me. And now it's filtering to the FTC top 25 now too. So it only means we're growing bigger and bigger. We really do appreciate everybody for all your support as well too. Hey, let's go ahead and draw for the giveaway, by the way, from our friends at AndyMark for the hoodie that they're giving away, the AndyMark hooded sweatshirt, and also a pair of safety glasses. By the way, if you are drawn in just a second, we'll need your first name, last name, mailing address, and email as well too. And that's going to be RA3D Redux, which I can only guess is probably Heather. So if it's you, Heather, congratulations for winning. I don't know if this would be considered rigged, but sure, we'll rig it. Why not? Congratulations, RA3D Redux, for taking the giveaway here today. And thanks a lot to AndyMark for the fantastic giveaways. We have many more giveaways to come throughout the season. And thank you all for tuning into the FTC, that's tomorrow, FRC Top 25 for Week 3. Special thanks to all who clicked the follow button. Thank you to everybody who subscribed or gave bits as well today. It is sincerely appreciated that you help us keep fun, loud, live, and independent. It does mean the world to us. So thank you so much for that as well. Let's just read off a couple since we haven't had a chance for yesterday. T-Steel came in yesterday with more bits. Blue Defender, PJ the Ref, Crypto Rex coming with some bits. Lord Peaches, Us the People, and of course anybody else that we may have missed. Thank you so so much for your continued support of fun. Don't forget to vote. Polls open on Sunday and close on Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern at firstupdatesnow.com/FRC top 25. Don't go to FTC top 25 and vote. For some reason, some people did that, even though it clearly says FTC many times on the voting thing. So sorry if your vote didn't get counted because of that. But make sure you do that as well. Check out the FRC Top 25 live on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern and archived at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow. Ari, any events you're attending this week or got your eye on this week at all?
Not this week, but I will be at week 5 in Hartford.
And how about you, Ryan?
Israel District Championship. I want to see how this game is played at a high level. Trying to formulate strategies going into the World Championship and figure out what my team needs to be doing. I'm thinking that'll be the most informative event.
I'll be traveling. I'm staying local this week. I try to do local and then far away every other week. So I'm staying local. I'm going to the Wisconsin Regional on Thursday afternoon and Friday. And then I will be at the Minnesota North Star Regional that's in Wisconsin in La Crosse because it got moved due to the venue conflict. So looking forward to seeing people there. Please come say hi to all of us, myself, any hosts and contributors or in correspondence. We'd love to have you say hi. Many of us are try to be very friendly and stuff, talk about your team and your robot. But sincerely, like I love going to events and just talking to people and meeting people and hearing about you and your teams as well too, or anything else that you want to talk about them first. That's what we're here for as well too. So thank you everybody for all your continued support. We can't wait to see more. Hop into our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow. And if you're an FTC fan, we do have the FTC Top 25 coming up on Wednesday this week as well too. So thanks a lot everybody for First Updates Now. We hope you have a great night. We'll see you soon and good luck to all teams competing in week 4. Good night everybody. This video on First Updates Now is made possible by viewers like you and also the following sponsors. If your team is using SolidWorks, make sure you log into the 3D Experience platform to gain access to tutorials, collaborate with other users, and download the Charge Up field and kit up parts. Go to solidworks.com/first and click on Log into 3D Experience platform to gain access. The Charged Up competition season is here. We have a ton of live Twitch and YouTube content coming to you. All of our uploads and archives, including shows, behind the bumpers, Finalysis, and more, are available at youtube.com/firstupdatesnow. Check out all of our live shows on Mondays and Tuesdays at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.